Well, hello, everybody. This is Larry from the Super Tech Universe podcast.
Hold on.
Well, hello, everybody. It's Larry from the Blue Collar Nation podcast. And I'm here with my business partner, Mr. Assiduous, Eric Sprague. What's happening, Eric? How are you today?
I'm great. I don't know what assiduous means. I'm a contractor, but
you're good at this stuff. You generally know. Okay, check it out.
I don't know what that, unless you're mispronouncing it.
No. I've practiced it beforehand. I mean, it even says how to say it.
All right. What
are you? Characterized by persistent attention, untiring application. You're devoted, You're attentive, unrelenting. Bada bing, stand back.
You never let me live that down, so I'll take it.
No.
All right.
You know,
one of us has to be detail oriented.
Yeah. Too many details, but that's why I've got you here.
Yeah, I know.
I figured out, where I need my skill set going because I don't have those capacities.
So, like, you're Cher and I'm Sunny.
Yeah, you're my Sunny.
Okay.
I'm the Sunny, just so you know. It rises every day in the morning. It's a beautiful thing.
All right. Let's get to our more interesting guests.
Podcast. This podcast. Hang on. No, we got a sponsor here. The sponsor of Super Tech University. And Super Tech University, you go to supertechu.com, and we train technicians in soft skills, people skills, skills so the technicians can communicate better with the clients, with their colleagues, with their superiors, with everybody, and raise their self-confidence just to be better technicians. And that makes a huge difference in the business. It gets rid of so many problems that technicians have. They don't know these skills. And Eric's going to tell you a couple more details about how to find more information about Super Tech University.
Yeah, Larry, thanks. If you go to supertechu.com/podcast offer, you can get a generous discount on our gold package. And we have all kinds of training. It's 5-minute daily video training for technicians. And we also have a service manager leadership training series and now CSR training. So go to supertechu.com/podcast offer to get your discount.
Bada bing, commercial over. So let's go. This is going to be a killer podcast. We've got returning guest, Brandon Donatelli, Chief Revenue Officer at HOMEE. Brandon is a killer connector. We've seen Brandon over the years at different shows. He's a close friend. We're very excited. He's from HOMEE, and he's brought his colleagues with him. We have Jeremy Meyer, a pro recruiter. Myers. Is it Meyer or Myers? I got to get this right, huh? And then we have Augie. Augie, you got to help me out with your last name. Go ahead.
Oh, Augie, you're on mute.
He's got a cool last name.
You can go with Augie.
Okay. Augie's the account manager.
Augie, he couldn't get Jeremy's name right. He's not getting your name right.
I didn't get your name right, Brandon? Brandon Donatelli. It's a great name.
I said Jeremy.
So you're all over the map. You're criticizing and making a problem here. And then also we have Alex Garcia, who is a claim management coordinator. So we've got the whole team here. We're styling. This is going to be a killer podcast. How are you guys today?
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Wonderful. Thank you for having us. Very excited.
Oh, that's great. We're happy to have you. We were just at dinner with all of you guys last week. So it's good to have you on the show. And it was good to see you guys last week. Brandon, I'm going to start with you. Maybe for the listener, you could give maybe a brief background from you, and then take it into what HOMEE does for the listener that doesn't know about HOMEE yet.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, starting with me, I'm 20. I don't want to say it's above 20 years, but I think we're up to 23 now. I just had a birthday recently. So in the insurance and restoration industry. So largely for me, started my career way back in the day. It was a firefighter and contractor in the just outside of Chicago on the Northern Illinois market, and owned a restoration company. So really started as a contractor in the industry, and understand and really resonate with vendors and pros and kind of what that grind looks like day to day in the industry. From there, I went out and did some private consulting for a number of years. I was the global director. I made a transition from restoration, the vendor side of the house, over to the carrier side of the house, and really servicing carriers with my position at Matterport, where we were largely providing spatial data solutions to the insurance industry. Kind of launched that both for the industry and for Matterport. At the time when we started, I was the only, or Matterport was the only individual or company out there with some sort of a virtual scan capability. From there, did a short run at CoreLogic, NextCare Solutions as a VP of Strategic Accounts. And then just in January earlier this year, took the Chief Revenue Officer position here at HOMEE. So been a little bit all over the place.
Yeah, but all restoration, other than the
All
firefighting.
insurance, all restoration. I mean, largely
Yeah.
everything that we're doing revolves around a largely residential property, 80%, but definitely some experience in commercial and industrial, but mostly residential.
And so many people in the field over the years with these companies that you're connecting with people. I said you're a connector. When we go to these facilities and these events, everybody and everybody knows you. You drop your name and it's cool because you have great integrity that's been following you along, which is wonderful.
Yeah, look at this is a really big small business. I can fortunately say I've definitely pissed a few people off over the years, but I haven't burned a bridge completely, right? So largely I make good on it. So
you're able to put it out before it fell into the ditch.
No, Brandon was firefighter. So,
yeah.
So Brandon, you and I have had some conversations about HOMEE one-to-one, and I was wondering if you could tell all the listeners what exactly HOMEE is. And I know HOMEE kind of started differently than it looks now from what we've talked about. So maybe if you could walk through the progression too.
Yeah, definitely. I'll tell you, I'm going to work it backwards, what HOMEE is today and where we come from, and help everybody kind of understand maybe the etymology of the name, as well as just sort of the pathway that we kind of followed, breaking into the insurance industry. But today, HOMEE is what we like to refer to as the leading digital claims marketplace to the insurance industry. And that's an interesting way to explain it, because everybody goes, what the fuck is that? Like, nobody knows what that is. Like, what does that mean?
Yes, and we're hoping that you can explain that to us.
Yeah, I mean, just the concept of a marketplace, you're like, huh?
Yeah. So, keeping in line with, my kind of desire and excitement around technology, and I've always been on the cutting edge in terms of technology. We're on a mission at HOMEE to bring the insurance industry sort of out of the old analog manual processes and operations into the true digital kind of current, present state and future state of what the industry is really going to look like. So by investor standards and company standards, we're an insurtech. We're leading with technology first, and we're solving very audacious problems with digital solutions, right? And in doing that, we're years ahead of, and we're built with major carrier input. So carriers are funding and standing behind what we're building to help solve some of their problems, but do it in a way, believe it or not, to make life easier for vendors, so that vendors and pros can do a better job at resolving insurance claims for the policyholders, right? So this evolution of sort of the traditional analog managed repair network and TPA environment, moving more into this digital claims marketplace, as we call it, is a way that we've coined, making ourselves stand out and really are different, not just in name, but truly in how we're taking our approach to the industry.
So Brandon, explain something to me real quick. Are you competing with TPAs, or is it an augment to the TPA? Because I get a little confused right there, because they sound similar.
Well, listen, there's no easy solution to that. If you ask a TPA, they're a little nervous. They want to know, they're asking the same question. We don't want to compete with TPAs or managed repair networks. We believe we're a partner. We believe that we're solving with technology, managing claims in a way that they're just maybe too large or still too analog to do the way we can. So we're a great partner. And I believe that we can help a TPA or managed repair partner perform much more efficiently and better, and deliver a better solution both to their vendor network and to the carrier and the carrier SLA commitments that they have. But with that said, we're disrupting the industry, right? A larger understanding of these TPAs and what they do. They're these huge, these carriers have massive amounts of policies in force and huge volumes of claims are occurring on a monthly basis. The current TPAs, the biggest of them, are maybe only handling 30 or 40%, maybe upwards of 50% for some carriers of the total volume of claims that are occurring. So in terms of being competitive, we're focused on the other 50% of claims that those current, TPAs and managed repair networks aren't maybe touching today, in providing a more predictable, structured way for a policyholder or a property owner to go down a pathway. And what I like to say is those kind of incumbent companies are more like HMOs. They're in-network service providers. And we're more of a PPO. We're going to take you out of your network. If you're a carrier, we're going to help you supplement your capacity with your relationship with an existing TPA and help you expand and grow that. And if you're not, we're an opportunity for a carrier to build their own procured network. And what's really neat from a vendor or pro perspective is we pull in a really interesting group of vendors into the system. I'm going to shut up there because I can go long. You know me, I can go all day. But
yeah,
I'm
with you because we've spoke about this before. But use an example for our listeners are generally companies that are trying to break into some type of program where they can get some more work. They want to do a good job. Give an example of how this is going to help them. What can you guys do to help them?
Well, one of the things I think that's really cool about HOMEE that's different is we're equally yoked, whether you're a national franchise, operator, or you're a standalone, handyman that's maybe not even doing insurance repairs. In HOMEE's eyes, you're the same. If you have the ability to do quality repairs in any trade, whether it's a single trade, it's a complex loss, or it's a full service end-to-end mitigation to pack out and contents, we have a category or what we call omni-channel pathway for that trade to work within our environment and provide their quality work to any number of carriers or other contractors as needed.
So I have a question for Jeremy. Jeremy, we were on prior to going live, and I know you're a restoration contractor and you've done program work, and we were kind of going back and forth on the challenges of that, right? Can you give us, from your perspective, and you're a pro recruiter, so you're the person Brandon's saying you're finding the handyman that you're bringing in. So can you explain kind of what that process would look like? Because we're going to have a lot of people listening going, I think I would like to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple of different ways you can submit your information for us to kind of start that recruiting process. So if you go to HOMEE.com, HOMEE.com, you can actually submit your information. That will create a ticket for a recruiter to reach out and kind of start that onboarding process, give you some details about the types of jobs we have available, go into detail about how the program may be different from other TPAs they've worked with, or if they have no experience in the insurance industry, kind of give them a little bit of information of what to expect and what kind of expectations they should have. Fact is, not everybody's a good fit for this industry. And so, let me give you the expectations, let me give you the timelines, the expectations. And then, if that's something you feel like you're a good fit for, you have the proper insurance requirements, you have the proper licensing, then yeah, we'll bring you on board, go through a compliance aspect with that documentation, the insurance, background check, and then we take you through about a 25-30-minute training with our trainer, Nakia. Just kind of, again, going over those HOMEE specifics, right? How to create an estimate, what the turnover expectation is for the estimate. And then from that point, we turn you over to the account manager position and you're ready for job fulfillment.
So correct me, I don't understand this and I want, so are they all running through like a CRM at HOMEE? Are they running all the jobs through your tech?
Yeah, so once they get to the account manager position, we have a workshop that Augie would be able to kind of speak to, and that's where they would do the job management. Okay. I did leave the other one out. We do have an app, a HOMEE app, where you can get in the marketplace. That would be the other way that you can submit your information. So when you download the app, you'll fill out a form. Again, that gets turned into a ticket in our CRM, and then we start that onboarding process. Okay. Once we get you through training, again, there's some proprietary software that we use for, again, submitting the estimates, that communication with our claims management coordinators. So yeah, there's a different program for that.
So Jeremy, before I kick it to Augie, because I want to ask him about the whole account manager once you get there. I know you were a contractor and then you became a contractor for HOMEE. Am I correct? So you've been on the other side of the fence.
Yeah, absolutely. So I
So
own it.
if you could give us a little bit of that experience and then what led you to say, you know what, I really dig this and I'm obviously enough to go work for them.
Yeah, it's funny because I was actually introduced to HOMEE about 3 years ago. As an owner, you're always looking for different revenue streams. Not really sure how I found them at the time, but I had found HOMEE, had reached out to, at the time, the account manager, Brian, and then actually took on a couple of different claims with HOMEE. I think one was, there was some water damage in a kitchen. We went in and did some cabinetry replacement, some painting. And then another one was actually some fire damage on an exterior. So we had to go in, remove the siding, and then replace the siding essentially. And the way the app was set up initially, having been in the restoration industry, having worked with the different TPAs, I kind of told him, I love what you're doing, but what you have right now doesn't really fit the industry. And so we need to figure out how we can kind of adapt to what we're doing. And then, 3 years later, I had sold my shares of the company and had really been looking for a way to start with HOMEE, because even though I wasn't sure about, the way they were kind of integrated into the insurance industry, I loved HOMEE as a company, specifically because of that relationship that I had with Brian and with the guys at HOMEE. We talked about customer experience. And it's just as important for a contractor, right? You want to have a good experience. You don't want to have to go through a bunch of hassle. For me, at a younger generation, give me the technology and I'll do everything hands off. And I don't have to make those phone calls. I don't have to make those emails. I can do everything digitally.
Sorry, I was on mute. So I want to kick it to Augie, because Augie is the person that you would have been dealing with, right? So Augie's an account manager. So Augie, can you give us kind of, how you guys approach that? Because Larry and I have worked with TPAs, and getting an account manager on the phone sometimes could be difficult and feel like you're dangling in the wind. So how do you guys approach that from your side?
And that's a great question. And that's something that we do different than any other company. This is why I've been here ever since day one. I love everything about HOMEE just because of how we treat our contractors, how we see eye to eye, how we understand the daily operations, what it takes to be a contractor, what it takes to get up at 6 a.m, get the kids to school, get out on the road. So basically we like to build a lot of relationships, and we like to understand everything that goes through on a daily basis, and not only just on the professional side, but also on the personal side, right? We want to get to know everybody, to have that connection and to understand that we're both working for the same goal, right? We both want to succeed together with mutual respect and honesty and dignity. And so once they get through the recruiting process, then they get introduced to us. And at that point forward, we already have a relationship begin with Jeremy. So it's almost like a seamless transition. And then of course we get to know our contractors. We get to understand, why did you start your business, what brought you to construction, to understand exactly, if it's going to be a good fit for the both of us, because we want to make sure we're honest and straightforward with everybody. We go through the profile gorilla procedure, make sure that they're compliant, that they have everything ready to go. And then on that moment, we create a workshop profile. So the workshop profile, what it does, it allows us internally to see the claims that come in, and also to provide you with the claims either via email, via the app, or through the pro portal/workshop. Once they have that availability to be provided with a job, then we'll go through the training and begin the scheduling process.
So how involved in that claim are you generally?
Basically, an account manager it's someone that will hold your hand at all times, right? Not just to talk and, and I heard this in the industry quite a lot where contractors get called at 5 o'clock in the afternoon just to, hey, I need this and I need that. We do more than that, right? We want to make sure, hey, how's your day going? How's everything going? You got 5 jobs already open. Can you handle 3 more? Are you able to have that capacity? We want to set you up for success. And if we need to pull down the amount of jobs, we will. If we need to give you more, we'll give you more as well. So we contact their contractors, make sure that they have everything that they need, that they're set up for success. We call on a weekly basis, daily basis, and monthly basis, and quarterly, just to show you exactly how much revenue have you already gained since you started with us. We ask for feedback at all times. As you know, we can have the best technology in the world, but if we don't have, the contractors, the professionals that are able to do this, we wouldn't be here today. So
Yeah.
we don't take that lightly. So any feedback that they have that we can improve internally or as a team, we will do that too as well.
Thank you. So what I would like to do is, Brandon, if you could tell us like kind of going from like how the arc went into the insurance industry, and then I want to go over to Alex and start talking about the claim side instead of just the contractor side. So I did some research and I saw Doug on like Tampa television showing his phone, and that, you could get a plumber, you can get an HVAC person to your house. And it kind of seemed more Angie's List with more technology at the beginning. And then now I know we're full insurance industry restoration. So how did that happen, and how'd you guys do it?
Yeah. So Doug tells a great story. He was in a previous startup that he ran, was had a sales meeting. I think he was in New York or San Francisco. His family was here in Tampa, where they've lived for years. And it was 5 p.m. He's got a seat at the bar, orders a drink, orders a nice fillet, and gets a text from his wife. The HVAC's out, right? And, they're back here in Tampa in the heat. And he of course texts, well, did you call anybody, or what's the prognosis? What's going on? Well, I can't get a hold of anybody. It's a heat wave in Tampa. And as he puts it, he threw a cover on his dish. He went outside. His wife, sent him a few expletives like, hey, he basically said, I just ordered a steak. I'm going to sit down to eat. And she said, what you can imagine, enjoy your steak in your air conditioned hotel room while we sit here and cook in Tampa. Right.
Isn't that a great phone call? Loving that.
Threw a cover on the dish, went outside, got on the phone, and started trying to find people to kind of respond and show up. And long story short, it cost him $500 to get somebody to commit to showing up maybe the next day. Horrible experience. He had to make, a half dozen phone calls to find one and pay a deposit to even get him to come, right? So that's kind of where the idea of HOMEE was born. And having a technology background in software and being the glorious mind that he has, he said, there's got to be a better way to do this. And there's HOMEE 1.0. Largely what you guys described and what the experience was like an Uber-like experience. It was an Angie on steroids, so to speak, and really focusing on specialty trades and even providing large property management capabilities and things of that nature. So, we really kind of learned the industry, built the technology, got all that into place. And then a couple of years ago at InsurTech, where we're headed next week in Vegas, Liberty Mutual kind of sought out HOMEE and said, hey, we like what you're doing. There's anything like this in the insurance industry. We're interested. We want to talk. And, a few steps later, and next thing you know, we've got Liberty Mutual and State Farm and the Hartford have invested, quite a large sum of money in us. We'll be north of 50 million here soon. Some news coming out shortly. But so from that perspective, the carriers in the influencers in the industry and the carrier side identified our industry is broken. It needs something like this. So their decision to invest in HOMEE said, we like where you're going with this. We appreciate what you're doing. And probably a year after that first transaction, we made the decision to drop the Angie and just the general trade stuff and go 110% InsurTech focused. Best thing we ever did. We are, obviously you guys, it's been, 8 months since I got here, 9 months since I've gotten here. Nobody knew who HOMEE was in the insurance industry much previously, but a handful of folks like Jeremy, and some other people. now, we're quickly becoming the talk of all the conferences and shows. I think we're making an impact. The brand recognition, the market positioning, everything seems to be right. So you can imagine we're very excited, and we think that the sky's the limit right now.
No, there's a lot of opportunity. So I have a question. Obviously, the restoration companies can benefit it as well. Are there other industries? And we were talking about handymen, and then we had the HVAC example from when it started out. What other industries or professions in the blue collar area can benefit from you guys helping out?
Yeah. So one of our other partners is Ferguson Supply, which, if you're in plumbing, I believe electrical and other, services, you're potentially in a city where Ferguson's, provides. They're one of our backers as well. So we definitely still have a need and still continue to use single trade operators in specialty trades like plumbing, electrical, HVAC primarily, but also those specialty contractors that are, doing single trade type work or custom, really nice stuff. So all the above.
Good. So there's opportunity for all kinds of people. Go ahead, Eric. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I wanted to kick it off to Alex and talk a little bit about the claim side, because we've talked already about what's good for the contractor and how this helps. So how is it good for, how are we making it better and easier for both the client and the carrier through the process, and kind of like, what's the protocol? How do you guys do it?
Thank you. Yes. So great question. Basically, let me start off with something that I always like to tell my own teams, is that picture a triangle, right? We have a triangle. HOMEE's in the middle. Who do we have? We have three clients. We have the carrier, we have the policyholder, and then we have the contractor. So HOMEE's basically in the middle. And that's why I just like you did your research with HOMEE, Larry and Eric, I did a research with you, and it segues into this great soft skills that you're talking about, and then you're really talking about, and that's what it takes. Because yeah, we're insurance tech, but we're insurance tech with a personal touch. That's a dichotomy. That's weird. A computer and basically human interaction. What's going on here? So basically, our job is basically to get the insured and rebuild their home, do the build back, so to speak. How do we get there? We'll track down the carrier, whoever you are, Liberty Mutual, State Farm, whoever. We'll make sure we ease the experience as much as possible so the insured doesn't, freak out. Let's be honest, they're looking at that damage day in and day out. They're going home to it. They're going to, to work and back from work to it. So they see this. So they just see this reminder. So how can we basically avoid delays? Because that's basically our job. Avoid delays and give great customer service so we could get the insured basically back whole. So we take that, we get that call, for example, Augie brings it in. These pros, they're ready for work. Okay, we have these new pros. Pros are ready for work. We get a claim in from whichever carrier. We get it in there. We make the phone call. We make the initial intake. Explain what HOMEE's all about. Say we do white glove service, which we do. We call them. We physically, vocally explain to the insured, even if they don't have somebody back behind them.
So
even if an adjuster,
the person that had the water damage or the fire damage or something, whatever happened in their house, they file the claim. Okay. Right.
Correct. Sorry. So basically, and then what happens if that carrier doesn't have an adjuster attached? Where does the insured go? Enter HOMEE as well. Not only can we help them manage their rebuild from start to finish, we can also go in there. We're not going to discuss policy. We're not going to discuss coverage, but we will discuss a timeline. Basically, hey, this is what you can expect. Almost like you said, like you're augmenting from what the carrier has, which is great. So that's what basically we do. We let them know, ease their mind. Don't worry, we'll track down your adjuster, we'll track down your carrier, keep with us, be patient with us, and we'll make sure that we take care of you in that level. Because let's be honest, the last thing you need is an insured frantically throwing a claim, doesn't know what to do, and then they're like, nobody has reached out to me. You're the only one that has reached out to me.
So
that is our job to step in.
You're taking a lot of the weight off the adjuster with
Yes, we are.
It sounds like just a lot of communication, and I'm sure you're dealing with the contractors that are helping the client. Go ahead, Eric. You got
100%.
something.
I want to play devil's advocate to that though. So if you could explain to me. So let's say I have a water loss and I'm not with Liberty Mutual, State Farm, or the Hartford, right? I'm with I don't know, some other carrier, right? So I go on the HOMEE app because I saw it somewhere. And then I contact you guys and say, I have a water loss. I need this fixed.
Mhm.
Well, we all know that carrier is going to, they're going to assign an adjuster to that job. So, man, Augie, you must have a big dog.
Oh man, you just chew off your leg or something. What's going on there, man? We should send somebody to help you out there.
So anyway, I mean, because that could be a confrontational relationship if all of a sudden that adjuster comes on that job and goes, who's HOMEE and why do I care? Right. You know, like I need my preferred vendor here. You guys are going to rip me off. Yeah. So how does that work? Because as I was doing all my research, I'm sitting there, that scenario kept going through my head where I'm the HOMEE pro and I'm standing on the job and all of a sudden, you know, Mr. or Mrs. Adjuster shows up with, you know, the cavalry.
No, that's actually an excellent question because we run into those scenarios. So basically what would happen there is we take precedence in what the carrier does. We understand that HOMEE Pro will not get every single job. Our pros also understand that we're not going to get every single job. I mean, let's be real. We are in the contracting business. We're not going to win everything 100%. But if we take things with care, with grace, you will grow. So basically when that happens, to answer your question is we go in there, we're going to say, Mr. Insured or Mr. Policyholder, we're going to go and explain to you the timeline. Oh, nobody's called me. Not a problem. This is how it's going to break down. I know an adjuster's not attached. I can't discuss with you policy. That's not what I'm here to discuss, but I'm here to discuss to you what the next steps is, whether you choose HOMEE or not, what the next steps are to better service you. So we tell them, we need an adjuster. If you're worried about coverage, you need to talk to your adjuster. That's point blank, because we're not the adjuster, we don't know. So if we could do that. If you want us to track them down, hey, we could track them down. We have an 800 number or emails or managers or lists from the carrier, from different adjusters that we could go ahead and dig into and delve into. Or we could go ahead and get the service in there and explain to them, hey, we could service this, but it could be an out-of-pocket expense. It's really how you set expectations. Setting expectations is key. So, and then make the insured decide, make the policyholder decide. Here's where we're at. This is what we can do for you. And then we could go and take it from there, basically.
It sounds a lot like being an independent restoration contractor.
Yeah,
It's funny you say that, Eric, because I wanted to jump in there.
Like I've lived that like 19 million times. I know what that looks like.
Right? And at the end of the day, right, policyholder has the right to choose. So if they're like, hey, we want these guys, we've had a great experience with them so far, we feel good about this. At the end of the day, policyholder has the right to choose, right? So obviously we don't want to burn bridges or anything like that, but we're just trying to do what's best for policyholder.
So I have a quick question. So if I'm a pro and I come on board with HOMEE, am I getting provided, work authorization, assignment of benefits, a script to sell the job, a process flow for the client? Like, is it uniform for every contractor so that the service experience from HOMEE job to HOMEE job is the same?
Yes, and that's what I wanted to mention. It's basically we communicate with our contractors the entire way, right? We're not just going to send you out to the gauntlet and say, hey, this is a claim, go ahead and fix it. And we never answer our phone calls. Kind of like when you go to a car dealership, right? You buy a car and then all of a sudden the salesman you're never going to talk to that guy again. We don't do that. We continue the communication. We continue to let you know what the process is, what is the next step, what are you going to need? And we're trying to keep the same sort of Big Mac sauce all across the United States so that everybody has the same experience, the same waking up in the morning and say, I'm going to take claims for HOMEE because I got all the information that I need. I have if I need to contact somebody, whether it's a Saturday, Sunday, it doesn't matter. They'll pick up the phone. I will have someone to talk to, someone to be able to guide me to the right direction. In fact, As an account manager, we call you on the first job, on the second job, on the third job. Any questions, any concerns you have regarding a claim, we're in constant communication with the OM team and with the recruiting team. So it's not that they're just departments in different states and different cities. We're all one big family together. And ultimately, our goal is to make sure that the contractor has an amazing experience, right? Because it's like a dominoes effect. If I'm a contractor and I'm working for a company that I'm happy, that I have support, you bet I'm going to show up to that house with a smile on my face. I get paid quickly, I get treated properly, and I have all the information that I need. What else is there to do?
Yeah, I think it's really good I'm just thinking like for a smaller contractor who doesn't have their own systems in place and, isn't great at sales, but they're really good at doing the work. This kind of thing seems like a very good fit for that type of contractor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
and
we
I
also
think,
work.
Alex, if I could cut in real quick, I think, Alex, you could speak to more of the documentation and how that's acquired, because it is unique in the way we handle that.
Yes, of course. Thank you. So basically everything, like it's InsurTech. It's exactly what it says. Everything's through email. Yes, we do snail mail if needed because we want to service the policyholder in any capacity. But we take processes, like you said, ATPs, estimates, contracts, COSs, certificate of satisfaction. We take all of that and it's all from PandaDoc. It's all e-signatures. So we could easily give it to you real time. So you could do it right when the person's on there, or you could do it beforehand, whichever you decide and you elect, which is such a great thing about the company because everything is pretty much real time. So you could get all the information up front.
So this is all great information, but the question you guys aren't asking that everybody wants to know is, how do we get paid?
You're ahead of me, Brandon.
That's great. That's great. So how do?
All right,
how
let's
do
go
we
there.
get-
Then I want to
Yeah,
go to
go.
my cat after that. So, okay, Brandon, how do you get paid?
So, what's really nice about this, again, when I go back to HOMEE being vendor or pro centric, we truly are. We believe to have a pro motivated and, excited to take additional work and be able to fulfill capacity. We do a decent volume of what we call low complex claims. They're going to usually be a 1 or 2 trade type loss. These things tend to be less desirable in the restoration industry. It's the $5,000 or $8,000, some sheetrock and painting and caulking and you get enough mitigation jobs going and emergency work going, and all of a sudden you get this bottleneck because you can't get your repairs done in time and you can't collect your money. So what HOMEE does differently is we pay within days, not weeks, of getting that work completed with our carrier partners that we're involved in. So the claims and work that you get that is through our partner programs, we're going to pay you very, very quickly in days, not weeks, to complete those repair jobs so that your cash flow is in order and you're motivated to take on more of those jobs. So one of the things that I think some of the other competing TPA and managed repair networks have out in the system is they don't have a high desire to give 4, 5, 6% of their, profit and already a low profit margin repair only job. So they're not motivated to take those projects. At HOMEE, we don't do that. In fact, on a repair only job, we don't even charge a fee. If it's under 10K and it's a repair only, there's no mitigation involved or no extensive trades otherwise, we don't even charge a fee. So where you're in these other programs and they say, hey, you need to take a dozen of these jobs to get that nice $50,000 loss that you'll make your money back on. We don't want to do that to you. We need you motivated to take our jobs and make money and be profitable on them. Every time.
So do you have to be a full service restoration company, or do you have guys that do just mitigation, guys that do just rebuild? Like, how does that work?
All the above. All
Okay.
the above.
So
Yeah,
if you had
we
a
want
a guy that only does MIT, he could still be a member, a pro.
And we love guys that only do MIT because they keep our guys that only do repairs fed, right? So we have companies that don't do mitigation that aren't working in the insurance environment. They don't use Xactimate or Symbility, right? So we have a system for those guys that aren't in the insurance space. We'll write an estimate for you and get it paid by the insurance company so you can do some work in the insurance space.
Yeah,
So
that's
we're
huge. That's
highly-
really helpful.
Yeah.
It's totally helpful. 'cause
So are
there's so
you
many
writing?
companies.
Are you writing all the estimates for everybody?
We do a
In-house?
good amount. Yeah, we do a good amount of them. And we also have a HOMEE time and material estimate format too, a low complex, simple estimate format that documents the job, adequately and provides a line item detail, but largely just as a time, material, and total. So, we've got options there too. And believe it or not, there's some carriers that are losing some faith in the price books that are out there with Exact and Symbility, not necessarily because those companies are failing. I'm not giving them a negative, I gotta always be careful here not to piss anyone off or run anyone under the bus. The reality is we're going into a bit of a recession. We're seeing supply chain challenges. We're seeing issues with this great resignation. It's not easy to keep up pricing. The price is like what's going on today. This is today's price. It's almost a day-to-day event now with supply chain. So from that perspective, we got a vehicle to satisfy that and make sure that we stay as current as possible so we can get real-time pricing.
Okay. I want to switch gears if we don't mind. I'd like to get into the my cat work.
What's that?
I don't know. You tell me. It's your product. So yeah, I did. Brandon, I went very thoroughly through the stuff that you sent me, and I got really intrigued, especially with the predictive weather analysis and the pre-planning. So maybe if you could just explain how all of that works or will work.
Yeah, shaping this part of the conversation. First of all, we're really excited about this acquisition. There's nothing like it in the industry. And again, as we talk more about coining the term or name digital claims marketplace, My Cat Marketplace is the first product in our suite that really shapes the digital marketplace or the landscape for it. One of the things I like everyone to keep in mind is when you're in the insurance space, you're dealing with an insurance policyholder that owns a property and they have an insurance claim, and annually, you might have 5, 6, 8% of all the claim, policies in effect might have a claim, an insurance claim, right? So it's a smaller percentage, but we know that insurance restoration is a really big industry. So there's a lot of policies out there. One of the things that's really important, I think the reason that insurance carriers like a managed repair channel to send their claims down is because it is a predictable outcome and they know that the policyholder is going to have a positive or a better, higher likelihood of having a good claims experience. Costs an insurance carrier a lot of money. We see the fancy ads, the Lizard and the Allstate ads and the Farmer ads and all. Like, these companies put a lot of money into getting market share, and the customer acquisition costs of getting somebody to buy insurance through any specific carrier, it's pretty high. And that carrier needs those people to stay on board for 5 to 7 years, maybe upwards of 9 or more if it's like the likes of a State Farm. So providing an experience for insurance personnel, people who work in the industry, the policyholder, like everybody involved in an insurance claim, that makes the process less friction and easier to manage, is going to increase customer satisfaction and ultimately increase policyholder retention. That's extremely important in this business. So My Cat Marketplace is a vehicle to be able to bring everything soup to nuts, sort of end to end, whether it's an engineer, a consultant, a specialty restoration provider, a commercial restoration provider, a standalone trade, a plumber, an electrician, or a licensed roofer. It is like the Yellow Pages or Amazon, if you will, of the insurance world. And what we're doing is we're giving this platform to individuals to be able to showcase their company and what they do. This is the game changer. It's going to level the playing field for the startup restoration company that's maybe a single storefront to compete with maybe a big national franchise. Because at the end of the day, your ability to present your capacity in the service territory that you work within is what you're showcasing in that marketplace. And it's a place that you can go look for business. So carriers can say, hey, I want a contractor. We have a system in there that allows us through Profile Gorilla and our credentialing system to determine the quality of an individual, what kind of insurance limits they have, what kind of background they have, what kind of ratings they have, not just say in Google or with the BBB, but also a My Cat rating that allows policyholders and past experiences to be able to kind of rank their performance as well. So we really get this unique system that says, hey, we have a potential catastrophe in the area, or if you're one of these new MGA carriers like an Openly or a Kin or Lemonade, Hippo, one of these companies, and you're writing policies in new states, a new state every day, and you don't necessarily have claims staff or services or vendors set up in that state yet, MyCat is a place where those carriers can go and get those services as they open those states up. So we're literally a totally ubiquitous, not exclusive with anybody. We're not trying to serve one party's interest over another. We just want to be a level marketplace where everybody can go out and find what they need. So think Amazon, business to business for the insurance world. And that's what MyCat Marketplace is.
You're connecting a lot of people, which is great. It's a huge.
I'm a connector, Larry. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, man. That's your skill set.
So Brandon, can you get into the part that me being the ops guy, so I'm getting all geeked out on this part, right? Like the whole predictive analysis and the allowing these companies, especially the guys who are newer, allowing them the help they might need to prepare to start doing this kind of work. I thought that was like super valuable. I mean, any of you guys who want to jump in on this, feel free.
Yeah, let me kick it off, and then I'll let the crew here chime in their details. But I'll give you the more technical side of, today there's a big desire on mapping and geo, right? So we look at if we could take and put in a map, a digital map, and we look at radar all the time. Anytime there's a big storm coming, we know you guys, Eric and Larry, worked in Southern California. I mean, the minute we knew there was any sort of torrential rain or rain events coming to Southern California, because they don't get a lot of rain, everybody was pinned to their radar on their phone or on their computer, looking at that weather to see where it's going to hit, who's going to be impacted by it. And that's really the story that goes across the country, whether it's tornadoes or wildfires or hurricanes and any of the other, major events that we experience. Now, how do we get carriers to participate and play in this as well? Well, if we put in predictive analytics and we say to a carrier, hey, you could take and put all of your policies as a pin by zip code or address on our map, and we can give you real-time radar and show you exactly which of your policies are going to get hit by that storm or get hit by that tornado, and give them this predictive capability to say, hey, we know an event of this size, if it hits, central, Indianapolis, right? Central Indiana. Maybe they have 10,000 insurance policies written in that area, and they say, hey, we've got some major storms coming to this area. We need to put a day or two in advance. We need to put our local contractors and vendors in that region or territory on notice that, we have a potential impact here. There's a possibility you're going to see some claim surge activity occurring here. We want you guys to get geared up and ready, and maybe give us a commitment, right? Maybe that carrier says, hey, we're going to incentivize people in that area. We're going to put a posting out to the MyCat Marketplace and say, if you work in these zip codes or these areas, we're going to provide a 5% premium for your work to come out and mobilize and provide services to our policyholders, right? So we give them a mechanism and some levers to be able to, one, engage beyond their current capacity. So beyond the current preferred vendor network they have, or if they're part of our vendor network, ways to better plan and mobilize the resources we built for them in our network, and then create channels and levers to be able to leverage getting the resources, the service, maybe that those policyholders for each of those specific carriers. That's kind of the carrier perspective and how we attract both sides of the house there, so that everybody meets in the middle. Carrier says, I may have, thousands of claims available. I need services. And then you may have a number of different people. The carrier may need IAs out there. They may need, independent adjusting staff and engineers. If it's tornado, there's a lot of big, structural impact. They need structural engineers to deploy to the site. They could put out there that they have policies, maybe they need 900 claims to be inspected by a structural engineer because of some impactful, wind and storm damage. So, they're really, the sky's the limit when it comes to that.
How do you go about recruiting to get the marketplace full of quality talent?
Well, you got the dream team here on the
I know
call
that's
today. Let's hear from them. Tell them what you guys do and how you do it.
Yeah, so if I could kind of speak to that for a minute. Again, as a previous contractor, one of the things that was really exciting to me is as an independent business owner, I couldn't mobilize, or I didn't have access to, or didn't have the opportunities that the franchise systems had, right? So we know ServPro, they mobilize really quickly, they do it really well, but you pay to be a part of that franchise, right? And you pay for that access and those opportunities. So again, being in Cincinnati and not having access to those, it's not really a revenue stream that we ever really looked into because there just wasn't the volume for us. With the MyCat, because adjusters are going in and creating those events, I can go in and browse, okay, this adjuster works for this carrier. Have I had a good experience with that carrier? Okay, I want to be a part of that event, right? Same thing as far as like Brandon was speaking to, incentivizing, what's the mobilization fee? Okay, I want to be a part of that. And then I can allocate myself, okay, I think I can do 10, 15 of these types of claims. And then as they come in, I'm getting those claims, maybe not assigned, but I'm getting access to those claims. And it's creating an opportunity that I didn't have as an independent business owner.
So is there an equipment network built in? So like if I have the manpower, but I just don't own that much equipment, I can take more work. Is there like somebody in the marketplace where it's like, yeah, I can go rent equipment from XYZ company and expand past my current capacity?
There is actually, yeah. So as part of the different services or the different products that we're going to have in the marketplace is the place for equipment rental. Chemical supply, materials. We'll have places for contents restoration, right? We'll have a section for more specialized services as well. And then, yeah, so like you can just, again, go into the MyCat marketplace. You can either search for, or it's categorized by services, what they do. And then there's just a list of, those different supply companies or, whatever you're looking for.
And then Augie,
So
what about?
opportunity?
Oh, sorry, Larry. Go ahead.
There's opportunity in there for different trades because we got a lot of different trades that listen to the podcast here.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Mold remediation, different type of, maybe bio cleanup or, whatever the case may be. Unfortunately, the world we live in today, right? There may be even a crime and trauma scene event that maybe needs to be addressed, right? So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of different opportunities, like you said, Larry, for different types of companies to have a place for them and to access to opportunities that, like, look, guys, SEO, SEM, that stuff's expensive. So if you can find a less expensive way to get those opportunities, that's a win for a business owner.
Are you guys doing a lot of firework too, or are we pretty much doing water?
That would be for Alex, right?
Yeah. We're not currently, historically we haven't been, but we just rolled out. So while we were at the experience event, you saw our agreement partnership with PuroClean, and we've got a few additional national contracts coming forward that we will be providing full service end-to-end solutions now moving forward into the remainder of the quarter here, and then early into next year, just expanding on that pretty extensively.
So Alex, I have a question. Well, it might be for Augie. I'm not sure. So you guys can tell me. So if I'm this contractor and I'm kind of pushing my, these cats are starting to come into my area. I'm pushing my own envelope, and I could get in too deep, right? Like I could start failing because I'm pushing it too hard. How do you guys help them pull the reins back? Like, because look, business owners are always going to do more than they're going to say they can do more than they can do, right? That's
Right.
human nature. So maybe if you two guys could kind of fill us in on that.
And that's part of the MyCat, right? As a contractor, business owner, everybody gets excited about going into this cat storm and be able to make as much money as possible in a short period of time, right? So that's ideally the perfect scenario. But at the same time, you do have guys that you still got to keep them busy. You still have your clients at home that you have to take care of, right? And so if you put your mind all into one egg or your eggs in one basket, you might lose the rest of it. So as an account manager, we come into play and say, hey, I noticed that you have taken 15 or 16 claims from MyCat. How are you going to handle the demand that you have back home? Let's go ahead and take a look at this and see if this is the right thing for you. So we're not only here just to hey, take as much work as you can. We also want to help you grow your business and expand and advise you, right? And say, hey, let's dial it down a little bit. Let's get this one done. Let's get you paid. And then we'll go ahead and provide you with more. So to answer your question, we're always there to help out no matter the situation, but we always keep a close eye on everything that happens on a daily basis.
And
Right.
then, Alex, what about you guys? Because all of a sudden your side of the business is just getting inundated. So how do you guys cope with that?
So basically, like you said, with based off the account managers, they have a system in place of, hey, you let us know how many claims you're able to take, how much work you're able to take. Is it 2 a week? Is it 3 a week? Or can you do 10? So like you said, people like to chew and bite off more than they can basically chew. So it's our job to mobilize and pivot. For example, like you said, we work hand in hand with the account managers. We go, hey, pro, it seems like you're not communicating as well. You're just not doing this as well, because what that does is it causes the worst thing ever in contracting business: delays. Let's be honest. And how can we service how can we cut down on those delays? So we have a frank conversation. We pivot. We ask, hey, what's the game plan? How are you going to attack it? And we do that hand to hand with the account manager and with the pro. We're not here to take away, money off your plate. We're not here to take away repairs, but at the same time, we're beholden to the insured, the policyholders, the ones who we want that customer experience, but we want the customer experience also with the pro. So we just make it work, and we learn how to pivot. So we're small enough to understand that we could go and still pivot to another pro, or maybe somebody else can handle those type of things. But we also are honest and transparent with everybody onboarded. So we're not just yanking things left and right and you don't know about it, because that doesn't service anybody.
Yeah, because really, HOMEE's role in all of this is to be the person who makes it as frictionless as possible. That's your job, right? Am I wrong there? Like, that's really the hub of what you do.
100%. And also what Alex said, it's important that we do pivot, and we do this on a regular basis. Not only will help the contractor to be less stressed and be more powerful in the next job that they take on, but also you can see that sometimes the level of quality can go down, right? And that not necessarily means that is a bad contractor, because you've seen the great work. It's just maybe we are giving too much. And we'd like to keep it on our rotations that everybody eats out of one plate together.
Yeah. So what about
difference? I mean,
go ahead, Larry.
Eric.
No, go ahead.
Everybody's got different things going on all the time. And if you notice you have a relationship with them, which you've been talking about, you can communicate, say, okay, this is what's going on. We're having a problem. How can we resolve this? Let's resolve it together. Otherwise, you hear stories from other big TPAs, and you're getting thrown into situations in or out, and it's uncomfortable, and it's a money problem, and it's a reputation problem at the same time, which is a challenge.
Yeah, 100%. And at HOMEE, as long as you're a contractor with us, you're part of the family. You're not just another number. We don't consider you a number. We consider you a member, like Brandon said. So we want you to succeed. We want you to grow together, and we're going to fight the fights together. Construction is never perfect, right? It's never pink. Things are going to happen. It just, it's not what you say, it's how you say it at the right time. So.
Well, that's the other thing we haven't talked about is, like, doing this type of work, you can get in a cash crunch real freaking fast, right? And, Brandon already addressed getting paid quickly, but how do you guys manage whether you have to be worried that your contractors keep biting off more than they can chew and then get paid fast enough to actually pay their bills and make payroll. Yep. How do you guys deal with that?
Basically, that's a great question that you have, and very, very important one, very critical. That's why we have the human touch. Not only we have the best software, the best executives, the best leadership, but we also have one of the biggest hearts in the industry from my years of experience. We're able to understand each and every one of the pros. Every account manager has a district and a region. And again, we don't call them just for work. We call them just to say how they're doing, how's the capacity, have you got a new equipment. And so if let's say, for example, a Dallas contractor that take 15 jobs a week, all of a sudden I go into the computer, I look, and he's got 25. I know he can afford 25 jobs out on the open because he's flowing so much cash flow that eventually he's not going to be able to pay his contractors or subcontractors. And then those guys are not going to show up to work. And then he's going to look back, and then we're going to look back, and then the carrier's going to look back. And at the end of the day, the insurer is suffering for this. So as an account manager, we take very proud and not lightly to understand each one of our contractors, which is a lot of TPAs don't know. They don't make the effort to do that. It's just a job for them. For us, it's more than that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because
Yeah.
guys can go ahead, Alex. They can just get
Oh,
totally inundated and be screwed.
Exactly. And to basically piggyback at the end, that's for a pro and with a lot of jobs, right? Let's go with the individual. Let's go with the pro. And then how do we pay them at the end? Same thing. We adapt. Like the word of the day will be pivot, because we do. So what's the main things that you need? Quality, communicate with the insured, do a walkthrough, which is weird, which is out of this world, how some pros are not understanding that. If you do a walkthrough, if you communicate, if you go in there and get the COS. So this is what we do. I'm going to give you the COS ahead of time as HOMEE. Hey, you're not getting paid at the end, or we're tired of us getting, telling us that you're done. Then we go ahead and call the insured. Then we have to get the insured's vocal, let's skip all that. Here's the COS. It's already done. It's already filled. Let's send it over to you. Do the walkthrough with the insured, have them sign it, give it to us, done. You give the insured's happy. You get paid. So it's a great thing. And I'm just happy that we have a lot of great pros on boarded, to be honest with you. And it's weirdly to say, but they are part of the family because we have great relationships with them, and we talk to them on a continuous basis. We talk to the pros, we talk to the insured, we talk to the carrier. So we have to have a great relationship with all three in order to survive and do well.
Well, yeah. I mean, especially with the pros, if you don't have pros that are on board, you can't win.
No pro, no HOMEE.
I'll tell you what, Eric.
Big proponents of that.
Big bill of the year is during the holidays, because I love to text the contractors Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. We still have pros that have not taken an insurance job, but doesn't mean that tomorrow they might not own a restoration company, right? So like Brandon said, we are like, I would like to call us like the playoff football team, right? It doesn't matter whether you're short, small, big, tall, skinny, fat, fast, whatever you want to call it, right? You have a home at HOMEE. And we're going to get to the playoffs, and we're going to move to the next level. And so that means also that you have a good relationship enough with the contractor to be able to be open-minded, right? Listen to what they have to say and listen to what we have to say. We have a job to do. You got a job to do, right? So we train you on how, for example, keep the insured connected the entire time, right? Understanding, hey, Ms. Smith, I'm going to be doing this, this, and this. And tomorrow, yes, I am taking these tools. Doesn't mean that I'm leaving, but I'm coming back tomorrow to do X, Y, and Z. That way, that insurer feels like, oh, wow, he took the time to explain to me exactly what he did on my house today, what he's going to be doing tomorrow. And that, like Alex said, accelerates the process to complete it and get paid. So
you mean, Augie, the technician has good soft skills? Is that what you're saying?
Depending, I mean, if you call a plumber at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in New York,
maybe not.
might not have those soft skills.
That's you guys know as well as anyone, that's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
Something I want to point out to you guys, and I gotta give my guys props here. Listen, these aren't boys here. These are men. I mean, look at my guys here. These guys got facial hair. There's some gray in there. I mean, Augie, that stash, but these guys are experienced, seasoned professionals. You're not working. One of the frustrating things I had when I owned a restoration company was getting on the horn with somebody at a mediator, or, a TPA or managed repair, talking to somebody that I knew had no clue about construction or understood what we had to really do. They were reading a script that said, hey, you should only have 5 air movers in here, not 7 or 8, or, what are you talking about? You got to, scrape the glue off the stud to put new drywall on, like things like they just, right? These guys are seasoned. They understand. They speak the language. They walk, and talk the talk, right? We're here, and again, we are pro-centric in every way. We want to have, we want to earn trust and credibility. We don't just want to be given it. And if we're charging a fee, we are your partner, and we're going to treat you like we're partners. You're our partner. We're yours. The last thing that's a little different about HOMEE, we're a general contractor in 40 plus states. We have the wherewithal to manage and handle the work that we do. That gives us a little bit of a different angle with the way that we operate and work on the work that we do, that I think is a strategic advantage. It's not an easy thing to do, and we've done that. And combine that, the best team in the business, some industry leading and state-of-the-art technology. I think an industry that sorely needs a new way of doing business. That's our digital marketplace. That's our real people, our homies, and that's who we think that everybody's going to want to do business with.
Yeah. Yeah. And just, to kind of land the plane, what I hear through this whole thing, like it gives, as a former independent restorer, and Brandon, you've been there, and Jeremy, you've been there, in the age of consolidation and private equity and companies becoming massively huge, what I'm hearing as we go through this hour of, uncovering this is I could be that 20-person restoration company and all of a sudden feel like I have a fighting chance to get work and to go do good work and not have to, like Jeremy said, buy a franchise and give away a lot of my money. And, it's a more level playing field. And that's more democratic to me. That feels better. And so I want to land the plane, Brandon, if you don't mind. Tell us, where's HOMEE going in the next 12 months, and then maybe how contractors can find you, how everybody can find you guys.
So yeah, largely today you're going to go to homee.com, HOMEE.com. You can check us all out on LinkedIn. Each one of us has a profile there. We love to get direct messages there. So just reach out to Jeremy Myers, Augie Resco, or Alex Garcia under Wilford Garcia in the system, and check them out. Give us a call. When you go to HOMEE, go look under our pro link. There's a request information. Put in your info, and these guys will get in touch with you and kind of get you set up and get you rolling. But we want you. We want the best of the best, and we want to provide good services and good partnership. And we think we're a partner to grow with you.
Very final
words. I can jump in there real quick.
Yeah.
Good. Better. If you're already a part of Profile Gorilla, if you already have a subscription, you can actually click on the link in your profile and add HOMEE as a network that you want to work with. And that also sends a notification to us that says, hey, this company wants to work with you. They're already with a Profile Gorilla subscription. Reach out to them and continue that onboarding.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's convenient. Makes a big difference for people.
All right,
totally
Larry, land the plane. Sorry.
Appreciate you guys being here and educating us, and our audience can totally benefit from what you guys have to offer. And it was a pleasure having you gentlemen with us.
Thank you so
Eric
much.
Too.
Awesome.
Yes, Eric, Larry,
hey,
thank you so much.
Before we go, can you give a flex?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Can you give a flex before?
Yeah, he's got the HOMEE tattoo. Dude,
tattoo on his bicep.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's commitment.
That's man. I can't even begin to express to you, Augie especially, but our whole. We got a great. And Eric and Larry, you worked with me before. My style of leadership and how I like to work. I lead from behind. I get behind our people and I like to put them in the right places to steer them in the right direction. But they do it. These guys are doing it. We're the idea guys and the visionaries. These are the integrators out there making things happen. And without these guys, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Yeah, just so you guys know, you guys did an amazing job today. Having 6 people on a podcast is not simple, and you guys nailed that really well. So really impressed. We got to get a picture of everybody before we go. So Larry's going to do a still shot. So look at the camera and smile.
Give me a smile.
I think Augie, I think you need to give the HOMEE flex.
Yeah, you did.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. Right on. Hang on. Let me paste this real quick. Make sure we got it coming up. Boom. We look great. Look at that. Right on, gentlemen.
All right, guys, that was great. That was awesome. It will actually come out next Thursday. So, and So for you guys for Alex and Augie and Jeremy, I'll connect with you on LinkedIn so that I'll tag all of you, and Brandon,
Okay.
obviously you as well. Are you guys anybody on Facebook as well? Because I'll do it there too.
Yep, you can tag it. Same thing. You actually put it, Alex. Just look up Alex Garcia.
Okay.
We'll be good.
Augie, you on Facebook?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, and I have you both, you and Larry, and LinkedIn as well.
Okay. And then Jeremy, you on Facebook?
Learned a long time ago to leave Facebook.
So don't Facebook. Is that what you're telling me?
Jeremy's
Okay.
in MySpace. He's got my.
He's still running Napster too.
Yeah.
He still has the one friend, right? You always get that one friend in my
Tom, right? Tom.
Hold on, let me
Jeremy, you
give you
got
my.
Tom?
Let me give you my Bumble handle too. Hold on.
Yeah, that's all we need.
Yeah, we'll
Jeremy,
put Larry.
how do I
We'll
get-
put Larry and Brandon's Bumble handle in the notes of the podcast.
Yeah, whatever it takes, man.
All right,
I like that.
gentlemen. Thank you. That was
Thank
awesome.
you so much,
guys.
Eric, Larry.
Pleasure,
Appreciate
guys.
you guys.
Thank you guys.
See
Really
you guys.
appreciate
Good to
having
see you
us.
guys.
We're out.
Bye.
All right.
Yes.